I've cleaned up the seam joins. It's easy to clean up because it's soft plastic. I've put on the top side the chaff pods, so you put in the larger section. It fits pretty good all the way around, just the back side on both of them has a bit of a gap. Might need some putty in that because I don't think there should be any gap. I've used full pods as I'm having it armed. Made sense to me to have it's all full. If you're putting weapons on it, then the chaff pods are full. The tail section on the back, again, seems chunky with the gaps. I don't know if that's correct or not. It just seems over exaggerated to me, but it could be right. I don't know. Underside, again, I did the full chaff pod, so you got the option, and the that plate went in there. Again, it's got a bit of a gap going on around it. I still need to put in that little antenna. These parts in C6, C7, they fit no good. Just make sure you clean up your sprue gates properly. As mentioned about that gap, that won't be seen, so I don't need to worry about it. I cleaned the seam join there as far as I needed to. I didn't worry about part of it because it won't be seen. When this sits in, again, the front edge looks good, touching the belly, but the back side to me looks like a gap. You can push it in a bit, but it spreads it, so it might need putty as well. I've put the tail together. I've just glued it together. So you put the rudder in. Mine's a bit tight now. I've got a bit of glue on it. You can move it, but again, I don't. When it's sitting in a display cabinet, you take it out and move it. I don't anyway. When it sits in, again, it's got a bit of gap going on. We'll need some putty around it. I need to put, there's another part that's on there. But I'm not, before I put it on, where's that? Ugh. I think I've gone past it. It was there. A little piece goes on there, but I'll wait before I do that to see where decals are going to sit, because I don't want to have to worry about fouled decals because of that sticking out. So I still need to put some more, all the side bits and bobs and nozzles and stuff on it yet. Actuators will stay off until I'm towards the end. I've painted the interior of my intake and the fan in there. So I painted the fan aluminium and the intakes are white. They do give you, where's that? Must be over there. The mask set you get with it masks off the intake. But it's it's at the back. So there, I might try them, but I don't really. I can just use Tamiya tape or whatever in there. So I've glued that on to the front fuselage. Still can't work out why that didn't fit. It's maybe the only thing I can think is because when I glued the bulkhead to the floor section, that part broke off because it was soft from the glue, and I've glued it on As far as I was aware, the gear bay sections are lined it all back up, but maybe it's out a bit, and maybe that is why I have issues with this piece at the top, because if I push it down I can get it to go, but it's yeah, I don't know, a bit odd. Something didn't line up maybe, but I don't know, it all looks squared away. Looks to be sitting where it's supposed to sit down this end, and the gear bay is sitting where it's supposed to sit. But anyway, it's just something I'll have to fix up when I glue that on. Just taking the wings sections off. Where is it? Oh. So you got, I'm gonna have to look. Apparently you got two options here. What actually, no, I don't think that is an option. That has to go on. Instructions are, you're like, geez, that's a huge part, but it's actually that's that part there. That's A9, so they've made it look gigantic. But you need to drill just two holes out for that. Plugs on top. Again, I find that vague, the way they got the angled. I don't know whether to put it straight down. To me it's suggesting it's going up the end or something, but that just, you know, I'm translating it. And look, I've got to drill another hole here for, which is that one. Well, it says when installing, so I'm not sure. I'll have to look at the colour call outs to see if they got them on there. But otherwise it seemed to look alright fitting together. Just plugs on. And what I like here is they've done it, that's where it glues together is a natural panel line in the aircraft. They don't have to clean that up. So it's a natural panel line. Again, just make sure you got a lot of sprue gates on the sprue gates. There was, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there was 8 on that one, and this one had sprue gates on the sides here, and then another 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And be careful cleaning all your, like, your leading edges and that, because like I said, the plastic's soft, it's easy to go too far. Yeah, so it looks like it'll be all good to go together. I haven't really, not that far along, but it seems to just plug on nicely, and it's all squared up. No steps by the looks of it. It looks sweet, which is good. I think, and again, to me that looks too big of a gap for a panel line, which will need putty. And then this will come in. But the main thing for me is this is all flush, because there's nothing worse than putting the model together and you got a bloody big step you got to sand away and then rescribe everything. So that's looks really nice. But again, I mean, it's not a big issue, but it's there under the bottom. It looks like there'll be a bit of a gap, might need some putty, but it's nothing major. But yeah, the main thing is it's all flush. So that looks all right. So I shall continue on. So I've just taken all the parts off for the side here just to see how it all fits and how the nozzles go. So you got these sections all plug on. So you got the heat shield or plate to protect the fuselage there. So those pieces went in first to either side. that'll glue on there. So that inserts, as does that one. Again, these all look like they got gaps going on that don't look, they look too big to me. So it's starting to look like a lot of putty required if you want to fill in all these gaps. The rear nozzle, you'll be able to put that in with them glued in, but not the front one. So that I'll have to go on. So these are those poly caps on the R sprue, the rubber. So it's 4 of them. So that just allows you to position the nozzles. I don't really want to push all that on because it probably won't come off. I'd hoped I could paint the nozzles off and put them on later. I can the rear one, but then I had a look at some images again of the aircraft, and I couldn't really see the rear nozzle, but the front nozzle is camouflaged the same as the aircraft. I thought they would have just been bare metal, but apparently not. So that'll probably help with that then. If I'll push it on. Poly cap will probably come off with that now, but it doesn't matter, I guess. So you can position it. I'm not sure how. I've looked at a heap of images and I thought maybe when it's parked they just droop, but I've seen them at all angles, so I'm not sure what happens when it's powered down on it where they naturally sit. So I guess it doesn't really matter. Although you can't. I'm spinning that around at that stage, it's starting to push that part up, so that'll limit how much angle you can put on it. And that one, I'll push it in now as well. So that's starting to get busy looking now with all these pieces on. So that'll have to see, that's stuck in there. Well, it doesn't matter, it's meant to go there, but so I have to put that on. I'll leave that on so you don't glue that one anyway. That one I can paint off. It's just for ease of painting was all I was concerned about, because it's hard to get at and that when the time the wing goes on, it'll be a very hard area. It's not too bad, I guess. If you can position it a bit, move it around while you paint, I guess. Work something out. Yeah, so it just appears that all these the parts for fitting straight onto the fuselage plug-in parts they have gaps. But anyway, that's what it is. So I'll do the other side, and then probably start looking at doing that wing. And then you've got a whole heap of air scoops to go on once that wing goes onto the top. Yeah, and then sort of all over the place. Bit how I build. Well, that was the other thing I didn't mention too, is when you do the first steps for the nose gear bay, when you put the fuselage together, there's another piece that goes in, a rear part, rear inner detailed section. So that's in. I have to paint that again, and there was another part there. I don't know if it's a hydraulic reservoir or something like that in there. It's so I just, no big deal. Just need to prime and paint it again. Just need to not forget that I've added it. Yeah, so I'll finish doing these sides. I've drilled out the holes, put that piece in. From what I can see on the paint callouts for all three versions, it looks like it's there. And I've drilled out the hole for that antenna that goes there. There is, even though that's a natural panel line, there are some areas the gap's a bit big, so it probably needs putty. I'm putting on the these sections on the wingtips. It's not great really fit. You can see there which is not, that's actually not two wing parts, that's actually one bit. It looks like it's stepped, so I'm going to have to clean that up. There will be seam join to clean up there, and there's injection pin marks that need to be cleaned up because you can see them, they won't be covered either side, and they're recessed, so a bit of CA glue in there. Also, a lot of these parts have mold join flash, where molds come together, and you can see a line that need cleaning up. Not just these ones, some of the ones I've done already. Some of these, which one? Nozzle had some. You'll see them anyway. Some of the parts just need extra cleanup for that reason. So I've got to fill them in, and then I'll do that first before I glue these parts on, and then I'll have to clean them up a bit, and then I'll put all these air scoops and that on the top of it. Alright, I've made up two control surfaces, a flap and a aileron, if that's what they call on this thing, but as you can see I've made them flaps down, extended. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't care. It adds interest to the look of the model. They're a bit, oh, that's tight fit, that one. That's tight and that one's loose. Once it's glued it'll be alright. It'll be easier to paint with these off because of the angle of it. These parts for the wing wheels have, I don't know, they don't seem good fit. They got gaps at the bottom, but I think, hang on, wrong side. I think that covers it. Yeah. So that area there will cover that gap, because you can't push that down to get rid of that gap, because then that becomes not level with the wing. It'll be up too high. I think even that one's got a bit of a step. And there's a gap again. I'm not sure if that, I don't think that's right, but it might be. And I've put some, so I've put some putty under that, where the gaps are on those, on that panel line. Got all those parts on. Tail. Like I said, I'm going to have to putty in some areas around that, around them, around that, there, probably there. So there's a bit of cleanup required. So I've done I just wanted to have a look because that's also, oh, you got flat, neutral, or flat down. So there's 3 pieces in that. So that's that. And I'm interpreting the picture as I have trouble with it, because this piece, N24, is actually on this side, and then N10 is on this side, but this picture shows them both going to the same side. So I know it's easy enough to work out, but it's sort of, well, that's not what's going on at all. So now I'll work out how that process is going to happen. I'll go back and do what I said earlier about putting on all these things on top. That's the other thing too, is all your pylons are part of the so you can see they're recessed out just for the pylon to sit into, which I guess won't be a problem, but normally a model has got all the detail, and the pylon just sits on the curve of the wing on top. So these are part of it, but I'm not putting, you can put them on, but you're going to have a hell of a time trying to paint with pylons sitting in there. It's just near impossibility. So hopefully when they're painted, and that's painted, that they have a nice smooth fit and there's no tightness, like you paint doesn't make them thicker or anything like that, although going by a lot of the other parts it might work out alright anyway, because there'll probably be a gap. Yeah, so I've got to come back now and do that top of the wing. Yeah, and I'll make up the other side for that as well. I've put the air scoops on. There's 2 on the front part. These ones, I lost one. I had to make one up. The antenna there, that's the one I had to drill the hole. The hole wasn't big enough, so I was slowly increasing the diameter of the hole, and I was trying to push the part in, and it still wasn't big enough, and I don't know where it went. Usually I hear where they land. I didn't hear it, so I didn't know where to look. I looked, but I couldn't find it, so I just scratched one up. So it's near to what it looks like. Lights, they got the masking fluid on them. The nose section isn't glued on yet. I'm testing if it's it is back heavy, but the rear wheels sit there, so I think it should be alright. I've started putting these together. I haven't put the sway brace on it, just the halves of the pylons. They got heaps of sprue gates on them, a lot of cleanup to each one. Yeah. So you got the wing ones, them ones, so it should be alright. I might put a bit of lead in the nose just in case. I don't think it should want to rock back, but maybe just to play it safe. I've put putty around areas where I thought the gaps were a bit big. I still need to probably do some more putty on this when I glue it on. I'm going to do the I put some of these parts. I put the A13 on that panel, and I'll put these other parts on and glue the nose on. And see how that looks. It's starting to look like a Harrier though. Put the gun pot on. As I mentioned, that doesn't look right to me at the back, but I might just leave it because you won't really see it when it's parked anyway. So I'm going to put started the drop tanks as well. Again, I think there's going to be gaps there that need filling, and I can see, looks like, again with the molds, you can see like a bit of a line there that might need sanding. You can feel it. I don't think that's a natural part of the drop tank. These are handed, so when you put them together it'll say left side and right side, so I'll keep them that way to make sure. Yeah, so I'll just keep plugging along. Alright, so I've got the nose just glued it on, or the front section. Like I said, it'll probably need, or it will need a bit of putty underneath there. I think that's just a bit of paint, maybe. Well, when it's dried properly, and when I give it some primer, I'll see if I need to putty that anywhere. I put some putty along that. It's joined the wing to the fuselage because that had a gap, so it probably will in some areas. It's no big deal. It's not a huge gap anyway, so it's all right. I've got my top of the cockpit in now. Because of the issue I had, I did it in sections, glued it in sections, made sure it bit down and held. There's a photo etch piece there, then another plastic part goes on top, and you got photo etch latches for the canopy, I'm guessing is their purpose. So they're on. Be careful your photo etch fret. Like normal, you got protective plastic either side. None of these parts are attached to the sprue. They're attached to the plastic. I didn't know. I peeled it off, and then some of them went flying. Lucky I could find them. It's one side of that paper is sticky, the other one wasn't. I think I peeled, well, anyway, when I peeled them off, parts went flying. So usually your photo etch is attached to the sprue, but this one wasn't, so luckily I didn't lose anything. Alright, just quickly, I've got these, I've cleaned up one side of the pylons. I've seen back the seam joins and put in the sway braces. Actually, how the sway braces going is, I'll have a look in a minute. I see. So I fitted all these as I cleaned them up because I was curious about the fit. They're pretty firm fit, so I can tip that up. They won't fall out, but they'll still need to be glued. The only thing is, I think, is that, like I mentioned, you're probably going to have a bit of a gap, and you do. That's a bit awkward, that one, because I'm not painting them on because it's near impossible to paint in there with pylons on. So I'm painting them off, so I'm gluing them in later. I don't really want to come in with putty because, again, it's hard to get it to touch in with paint. So I'm just going to leave them as they are because you won't see it like that. But if you picked it up and upside down looked at it, you'll see them. But anyway, that's how they've engineered the kit. So the the sway brace has got a nice big round section that plugs in. I need other ones I haven't done. So that big round drum section plugs into there, those ones, so it's nice positive fit, and then you just line them up straight. So I like how they've done that. But the like I said, there's a lot of sprue gate on each part. There's heaps. Some of them got like 6 per half pylon, so there's a lot of cleanup. But otherwise, they got nice details in them. It's just I was a bit concerned when I saw how they've engineered it about that fit. I mean, they fit in there, but there's going to be a bit of a slight gap, whether that bothers you or not. Like I said, I'm just going to leave it because I won't see mine, because mine's sitting on the ground. But when you, I suppose, put paint on the pylon, it might decrease that a bit, but I don't think it'll be much unless you're really heavy on your paint. But there we go, we're starting to look the business now. So still a heap to go on the cockpit. I've got to do the main instrument panel. Then the, what else was there? The panel combing and the hard, which was a photo etch part. I need to look again because they're only showing the canopy closed, but you should be able to have it open. I can't remember now. I've looked at their UMA's Facebook page. They got pictures of the kit. I can't remember now if they had it open or close in the displays of that, but I think, well, you should be able to anyway. I hope so, because that's the plan. Anyway, I'm not there yet. I got to do all that. Yeah, all that instrument panel. What else was there? So the glass piece plugs on the nose, and that had pretty sure it's got cleanup required. Yeah, you've got a big, well, not a big, but you got a center seam from the mold that needs to be cleaned up, and then I'll have to dip it. It's a shame. I don't understand why they can do these ones without a center seam, but not this one. I don't. Anyway, is what it is, isn't it? Alright, so I shall continue on.